welcome to our regular podcast, Knowledge Empowers. As always, with you is me, 안녕하세요. And then we have Baruch.
Hello.
And then we have Kolaj.
Dobré ráno, good morning everyone.
And we are continuing with our guest, Kubik.
Hello.
Would you guess that I have a horrible headache? Probably not, but I do.
Good job.
Right? I try to keep my spirit up. Let's get into it. Kolachi, what are our 3 fun facts? Or AKA 3 tidbits or tidbits or whatever.
The first one is dedicated a bit to COVID period and some sort of a fall out of it. And there was a study checking out why there was not a really huge spike in flus during winter when COVID hit. And they're researching, so if it was because of the mask or if there was something else. And what they've discovered is one functionality of our nose. And there is some protection, some immunity for us, extra, which when you breathe in the virus, it gets killed. And what they discovered is that thanks to masks, it wasn't the mask which stopped the virus, but it was the nose, because temperature decides how the immunity will work. It seems that 1 or 2 degrees change of the temperature of your nose will result in a drop of your immunity for about 70%. So because the proteins and some, these antibodies are not being created in your nose when it's colder. And that's why the flu is really spread easier during the winter or during the cold periods of times. So when we had our mask, they actually stopped this decrease or reduced the decrease that much that actually the immunity could work.
Oh.
So they really do work.
So actually the mask works, just differently.
Yes.
Just differently.
Differently.
They keep really my nose warm.
Yep. It needs more discoveries or it needs to more testing. This was done, I think, artificially, so it wasn't done with the humans directly. It was that they took bits and pieces out of the nose and tested it outside in laboratory environment. So it's not like 100% correlation or 100% sure, but it's a nice nudge that, okay, actually few degrees difference can make this huge impact on our immunity.
Mm-hmm.
I will now protect you, my nose.
Do so. I'm doing that since then.
Number 2.
Number 2 is about Finland and Finns and their fines. A bit of a tongue twist there. I'm not sure if you heard, but Finns don't have speed tickets, fines based on limits. It's not that if you're going this is the amount you get, but it's ratio. And it's ratio to
Finnish people?
Yes.
Okay.
So they have them based on the ratio towards your salary.
Excuse me?
Yep.
So the more you earn, the more you pay?
Yes.
Oh.
So this
How do they know how much I'm making?
Because, of the taxes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There is all the information they need. So they take... Yeah, so if you go up or if you go over the speed limit, they multiply your day salary, and that's the fine. And that resulted, for example, in 2002, there was a former Nokia director who went 25 kilometers above the speed limit, and his fine was over 100,000 euros.
It must have been nice
crap.
salary.
Holy crap.
So be careful if you are driving in Finland. Be careful about your speed and be careful about if you get a fine or not, because, they are checking it out.
And what if I'm there on the visit and I have speeding? How do they calculate my ticket? Fine.
I think there will be some backdoor and there will be some prizes given to the externals, or maybe they will ask your government for,
No!
to to share, like what's your salary like?
Now, but imagine as soon as we go to Austria, we immediately keep all the limits, just not to get those €125 tickets. And here you go, like,
Yep. Here is my kidney, so that I can pay. Good. And the third one is about mice, mouses, mice. Yeah.
No, mouse and mice.
Mice.
Okay. Sorry, we forgot how to English. So it's about mice. And they've done some testing towards addiction. And they were testing two particular substances. And that's cocaine and sugar. The thing is, mice were inclined to take much over the sugar than cocaine. So sugar is more addictive. Yeah, it's sweet, and it seems that because of the sweetness and how it actually works with our brains, that we are attracted to sweetness, sugar is more addictive than cocaine.
I'm not surprised.
What a dilemma.
Yep. So be mindful when you are eating the sugar, what's your sugar intake altogether, because it's really dangerous when it comes to intake.
Even mice know how to say no to drugs. Give me the sugar.
Yeah, if you made sugar illegal here, I mean, you would have so many junkies.
Imagine like people selling sugar on the corners in dark corners.
Well, not just sugar.
Chocolate.
Do you have tatranka? Do you have tatranka? Do you have chocolate?
Chocolate. How much here is 1,000
How much for Smarties? Man, come on.
Give me the chocolate.
Well, I will have to smuggle chocolate for my wife. So
Oh.
I would be definitely selling.
On a secret base kitchen, cooking the chocolates.
Okay, we have here Milka that is more expensive than the high cocoa ones. That crap without sugar.
So we still have Kubik here with us. What is it that we are going to talk about? College, what did you prepare? Any questions? What did I do?
Nah, let's talk more about Agile and all the ceremonies, or actually Scrum. In this case, I think that we've missed a few, and those are story pointing or some sort of prioritizing / planning / estimating. That would be the best. Estimating would be the best word. And then we have the grooming ceremony. So again, about prioritizing what's going when in. Let's start with the story pointing. So Kubik, how do you use that?
it depends. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Story points. Well, story points are the tool. They are not actually part of Scrum. Like they are not originating in Scrum, but it's basically a tool for getting some estimates or forecast for you to be able to predict or estimate and forecast when the work will be done. Story points are not a unit of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically abstract point. It's used for relative sizing because people are really bad at absolute sizing or absolute estimating. Like, okay, this will take 5 hours or this will take this amount of time. So that's why in Scrum or Agile we use story points, or maybe not using. But if you use story points, it presents the complexity of the work or the effort put into the work to deliver it. It contains.
So like it's easy, it's medium, it's hard, it's very hard.
Yeah, something like that. But for example, there is this estimation technique, t-shirt sizing. So you can have it like, it's S, it's small, it's medium, it's large, it's extra large. So you can use those as well. But for stories, we actually use story points. And the most often is to use the numbers from Fibonacci sequence. Mm-hmm. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, and so on. Mm-hmm. And that's why Fibonacci sequence, because with story points and estimating the effort, we want to use also relative sizing. We are not estimating the exact amount of hours or something. As I said, it's about the effort for the story. So if we establish what's the one, like what's the smallest one, okay, we know like, okay, this will take twice as much effort for something. So this will be 2 story points or something like that. And based on this, if you establish the scale and you are estimating still on this scale, because you are what was one previous sprint should be one this sprint, because you cannot change the scale, because then your velocity is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But what if you're a new team and after, I don't know, 2 sprints, you realize that you used your 13 points for something that is still not large enough, and you need that for something that is even bigger?
Well, you can still, what you can do, and there are different opinions about, it's re-estimation. Like after each sprint, you may have something which was not delivered completely, or was not finished basically because something happened or you discovered something more. So what we did was like we re-estimated the stories which are going to sprint and was partially done or something was done, and we re-estimated to what is the effort remaining. So we are planning just the work we know it's remaining for the work. But there are different opinions, like should we do it, shouldn't we? Because I mean, we are calculating for the sprint. We are not evaluating what was done. So it's not like, okay, from this story which was 13 points, we did like 8 and 5 is remaining. So we calculate like, yeah, we did 8 story points in the previous sprint. No, we discard those 8 story points because they were not delivered. They were not like delivered to customers, so customer not benefiting from them.
Mm-hmm.
But in the next sprint, we just need the 5 story point effort for the delivering the complete feature.
So, I mean, if you have a large effort that goes over multiple sprints, do you estimate it as such during the first sprint? Like, hey, this is more than 13 points, so this means we need to separate it into 2 sprints?
If there is possibility, like if we see like something is way too big and it doesn't fit sprint, that's first indicator of like, yeah, story is too big even without the estimate. Like if people say like, okay, this is too big and it doesn't fit one sprint, it's too big. We want to find a way how to split it so some chunk of it fits into sprint and can be delivered. Because I mean, if you have something which spans multiple sprints, it may prolong like forever, because you will find something else, you will add to it, and so on. So it's not good practice to have something this big. I mean, you may have some larger epic or something, some milestone you want to achieve, but it should contain or of smaller chunks or small stories or smaller tasks which would work together to achieve this bigger functionality. But you want to split the epics into stories which could fit into sprint.
Mm-hmm.
And who is responsible for this? Is this the product owner, you as a Scrum, or the team entirely?
For what exactly? Estimating or like splitting?
For both.
Yeah, so let's start with splitting. Like usually the product owner comes with the problems or something we need to do, like priority. Okay, this is what we need to work on. And then we can connect this with grooming and planning. It's basically, we need to discuss about it with developers because they will do actual work. So they need to understand what exactly is meant by the story, by the functionality. And after they have all this question answered, they can estimate and they can see like, okay, this will took this and this and this, or how much time it will take. And they can tell you, sometimes they can tell you right away, okay, this is too big, we can split it into these chunks. So it's basically team efforts together. It's team decision. They know what they will do, how they will do if they agree. And if they split it, so into reasonable chunks, which could fit into sprint, then they may go into story estimation, and basically what we did it, how we did it, is we use Planet Poker, which is it's also in form of online tool, but it's basically you have cards of these Fibonacci sequence numbers. Everybody has those numbers, and we present the story. Okay, is everybody clear what needs to be done? Okay, and everybody in silent voting pick a card, pick the number. If everybody picked, we reveal, and if they are in the like it's the same number, if there is conclusion like agreement of one number, then okay, story is estimated. But for me, what's the best part of this Planet Poker game is when there are differences, like somebody put number 2 and somebody put 13. And that's the starting point of discussion, because it's clear they understood the story differently. So that's the great way how to initiate the discussion. Okay, why did you put number 2 and why did you put number 3, number 13?
But isn't it a waste of time then? Isn't it better if you have one person telling you that this is going to be this long and that's it, and you go and you save 2 hours for your whole team?
Well, I mean, yeah, but what if the other person have different opinion? Like if you have somebody telling others what to do, then sure, but that's not the how we want to manage our team. Everybody has a voice in the team, and it needs to be team decision. It's not like, okay, you are team lead or technical senior tech lead or something, and you are just explaining how the work will be done. If yes, then yeah, you can estimate. I mean, you can estimate everything by yourself, but what's the point then?
Like, you're in a waterfall.
Yeah, you are. I mean, if you are tech lead, you just need to then prepare all the stories and write everything what needs to be done. All the responsibility will be up to you, and all the people or the developers in the team would just monkey doing what you write down. And since you are writing down what needs to be done, why can you do it right away? Sometimes you don't know how to do it. Sometimes you know, like, okay, what do we want to achieve, and the actual work and how it will be done is discovered through the discussion or through the planning even, because sometimes it's not just the development work. Sometimes it's the research spike. That's one of the product backlog items. It's not just the stories and features and technical tasks. Sometimes you need to research and find the answers for your next work. Sometimes you need to work with bugs, and with bugs you don't know what's the issue. You may not know what's the issue, and how would you estimate that?
I think we should reveal at the end of this podcast the dictionary, because we keep using words like bugs, grooming, velocity, etc., etc. People go like, what? Anyhow, what is grooming? Grooming.
Yeah, grooming sessions. They are also not like described in the Scrum guide. I believe they are not like official ceremony for the Scrum, but they are used often because they help to prepare stories. It's basically when you have planning session. I will start with this. You need to prepare your next sprint. You are preparing all the stories. You can do these estimations, story splitting, and everything. So you have the stories all well prepared for the sprint. So it doesn't happen like in the middle of the sprint, somebody asks, okay, what does this mean in this story? Or was this also part of this story? So this we should prevent in the planning. And that's why the planning will take a lot of time. And what can help with like shorten this time, but it's like splitting a planning into different meetings. It's when you have separate session for the grooming of the stories. So it's basically when product owner comes and is like, okay, this is the problem, and I need your opinions as well, because okay, what's possible, what's not possible, how we are handling this situation now, and what will be affected. So it's basically discussion, and the stories are written in the form so they can be estimated, they can be considered in the planning. And basically what we do in our team is we have one session called product planning. It's basically product owner coming with the problems or stories, and developers asking the questions and discussing the possibilities, so they know what the story is about or the feature. And then we have technical groomings. which is basically just the developers. Me as a Scrum Master don't have to be involved, or also the product owner is not there, because I mean, when they have technical grooming, I understand nothing.
They talk lots of gibberish.
Yeah, all the technical mumbo jumbo. And yeah, it's basically, so they are discussing what approach of the technical side of it like they need to take, because sometimes they understood the problematics and everything, but it may help them to understand like how to tackle this problem because you may have junior developers who doesn't know where to find in the code this part, or what else is affected by this code changes. So they're basically discussing what are the options from the technical point of view.
How long does the whole preparation for the sprint takes? Because it sounds like hell of a work, or hell of a meetings, effort put into the preparation than actually into the specific development.
For the planning, you basically have also this guide in the Scrum guide. So for 4 weeks sprint, I believe it's 4 hours of planning max time box. But it may sound a lot, like 4 hours sitting and just discussing stories, but you need to understand those meetings and the ceremonies are not just boring meeting. You are basically discussing work and how it will be done. So you are not discussing anything else. You are discussing how the work you are going to work right away in the starting sprint, what will be done and how it will be done. And it takes a lot of time because you need to prepare it. And also it depends how long it takes, how well the stories are prepared. Because if product owner comes with problems and they are starting discussion and product owners discovers like she or he doesn't know the answers for some question, that means like, okay, this story isn't ready to be developed, because you may have assumption, but if you don't like confirm them with the stakeholders or the interested parties, like you may develop something wrong and you may put effort into something which nobody will use, and you want to avoid it.
But basically, to understand, the planning session then helps you that once you start coding, you are then just focusing on the coding, because you don't have to think of anything else besides that, because that has been already clarified. That's
ideal scenario. But it may happen like, you are working on something and you discover, okay, but we didn't cover this something is connected and we didn't cover it, because we are people and we may not discover everything, and we may forget. System may be way too complex to understand everything or to think about everything. So it may happen like, okay, we didn't think about this, and the question may arise during the sprint, like, okay, should we do this or this? Mm-hmm. So it may happen. But you said ideal scenario is to prepare stories that they can be developed from start to end without any issues, without any question, because everything was basically answered.
It reminds me, I have now, thanks to Jakub, I have one image in my mind that it's like the huddle before the American football. Everybody puts their heads together before the game actually starts. Like they discuss, we are going to use this strategy and this strategy, left, right, blue, as whatever, and now they go and then they run. So it sounds like the preparation phase for the Scrum. It's just like this.
Yeah, it's very funny that you mentioned this American football or rugby, because the term Scrum is actually took from rugby. The Scrum is the position when they are all together and like working together to move the ball towards. So they are working as a team in this Scrum and basically working together to move it forward.
Who's the boss here? Who's the boss?
So and basically, they are getting together, plan the strategy, plan the next sprint, execute it, and before the next sprint, do it again.
And Barus had a question.
Yes, I actually, building on Kolachi's question, Do you feel like after all those estimates, do you feel like you're getting better at it?
I would add not just better at it, but if you feel the impact of it.
For me, the best part of the estimating is the discussion based on using the plain poker, and to bring the start the discussion when there are differences. Because I will be honest, in my team currently we are not using estimation. I mean, we do groomings, and we splitting the stories to small reasonable chunks. And when we are going into plannings, we just ask the developers, okay, does this look like doable amount of work? Like when we put something into sprints based on priority, like, okay, this we want to achieve this sprint because it's the top priority, and we add all the stories which would contribute to this sprint goal, another term. And we ask the developers, does this look doable for you? And they may tell you yes or no. And based on that, we can arrange the sprint. Because I mean, even if you plan like, okay, this is what we need to done, but you don't have developers, you don't have the capacity to do all the work. You can just do it. Basically, you don't have the capacity, so you need to split it, and you need to find some smaller portion of what will be the most valuable for the customer when we achieve it, when we deliver it. For the estimation, the velocity, when we used it in the past, I believe, yeah, the estimation went much faster and much smoother after a few times we did it, because yeah, people were used to the scale. They already have some experience. They already did some work, and basically they knew, okay, yeah, this is three-pointer or something. And when they didn't agree, it was, as I said, great starting point for the discussion, because somebody understood it differently or had some other knowledge, and they knew how to do it differently or much faster or something like that.
I have maybe a strange question. And I did the Scrum Master education with the certification. But when you get your developers, some programmers, is this taught somewhere at school, or you need to, once they join your company, for example, or your team, you need to teach them what is even Scrum, how do you work, why do you have sprints, etc.?
I don't know about school which would teach Scrum or something, except this organization which are there for it, like Scrum.org or Scrum Alliance. I never applied for the developer job, so I didn't check the position offering, like, okay, we work at Scrum, do you know what is it, or we will teach you. I mean, me as a Scrum Master is when we have when we are interviewing some new developer, I am asking them like if they have some experience with Scrum. If they don't, it's totally okay, because I'm there for it to teach them and to implement them in the process. Like, okay, what does it mean and how we work? But if they do, I mean, I'm asking how it worked for them in the past, and basically they may bring some best practices from the previous job. So it's always like it depends again.
You know, because I was just wondering that, imagine you as a really new hire, you come and then people start talking this gibberish on you, right? This velocity and product owner and this, and they're just looking at you like, all I want to do is just code in Python, Java, whatever. But they're looking at you like, I don't even understand what you're saying. So that's what I'm like thinking of. Like, I think it needs to be a little bit explained, like, this is the style we work, and maybe this is the dictionary, and this is then the outcome that you will be working on.
Yeah, definitely. And that's my job. If there is new hire and he doesn't understand it or she doesn't understand it, I am there for them.
Don't you love him? He's so cute. He learns so fast.
Yeah,
include everyone, exclude no one.
So yeah, I am there for this who doesn't understand, because I was witness of in my previous job. I observed some other Scrum team, and they starting to do this Planet Poker, and they were doing estimation. And I was looking at them, and one guy was just waiting for everybody to reveal their points. And then he was like, okay, there are mostly 5, so I will put 5. He doesn't understood it at all. Like, what are we doing? What are those numbers?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, nobody explained you? Like, so you are wasting your time here. You don't know what you are doing and why you are doing it. That's the crucial part. Like, why are you posting some numbers? So that's like, yeah, if you do something, you need to understand why you're doing. What's the purpose of it? That's why I'm trying to get rid of all the meetings which have no purpose for me. And also advising this to my developers, like, yeah, you are invited to so many meetings, just cancel them if they don't bring value to you. Like, if you are required somewhere because you need to answer some questions, sure, yeah, you may, because you are a crucial part there. They need to know something from you. If there are meetings like which brings no value to you because there are some town halls and you are not interested in overall company overview or something, just don't go there. Don't waste your time.
I look at this one very differently than you. Well, actually, it's the same. I just understand you don't need to be, or you shouldn't go only to meetings that fulfill your own purpose. You should also go to meetings that fulfill the purpose of others as well, or your companies.
Yeah.
So that's why you should go to town hall meetings if you have a role there. Or you should understand your role in the town hall meetings, for example, as an employee. Yeah.
Time is clicking. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Tick tock. That's a Korean word, and it means smart. Okie doke. Do we have any recommendations?
I do have one. I started reading this book about the catalyst, how to change anyone's mind, from Jonah Berger. I haven't got far yet. I'm after the first chapter, and it talks about how to be a catalyst. He talks about practices, how to actually be the catalyst, so how to reduce the energy required for a change or actually to get forward further with something. So even the first chapter talks about how to actually give, for example, people options to reduce the resistance towards the change. And there are a few more chapters about the endowment, about I don't know what else. I haven't got that far, but I like the style of writing because it's practical guide. There are already examples, studies, case studies, and the practices which are there are based on science itself. So it's not just like I've seen this somewhere worked. No, this is actually based on science. Like this is the study. This is how it works with us, and this is how you can use it to catalyze, to help with the change to someone else.
What's the name of the book again?
So the name of the book is The Catalyst, How to Change Anyone's Mind, from the Jonah Berger.
I'm going for a vacation next week. I could take that with me.
When is your birthday, Kat?
July. Anyhow, 수고하셨습니다.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Ciao, 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 ciao. Bye, bye, bye.
Thank you, Kubik.
Bye.
This podcast represents our own opinions, experience, and our own ideas. We do not represent any official statement from our employers, and this is not their official channel representing the company.